Hey fellow investors, today we're diving into a video by the brilliant Ray Dalio, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. We're talking about a classic late cycle scenario, potential debt crises, and the global economic landscape. Now let's dive into Ray Dalio's video. Trust me, it's worth every minute. I'll catch you on the flip side for our analysis.
We are at the beginning of a very classic late big cycle debt crisis when the supply-demand gap, when you're producing too much debt and you have also a shortage of buyers. What's happening now as we have to sell all this debt is we then do have enough buyers. There are changes now in terms of the quantities in the world that are being held by large investors around the world that have lost money in these treasury bonds and so on. And then there are geopolitical changes which are having an effect. Some cases, some countries are worried about sanctions, and then there's this geopolitical shift. So when I look at the supply-demand issue, there's a supply-demand issue for that debt. There's a lot of debt. It has to be bought, has to have a high enough interest rate. So a crisis, that's, if we continue down this path in terms of what's likely over the next, 5 and 10 years, then you reach the point that balancing act becomes very difficult.
Ray Dalio's pointing out a classic late cycle scenario, and it's crucial to pay attention to these signs. When you have an imbalance between the supply and demand for debt, that's a red flag. Producing too much debt without enough buyers can lead to a crisis. The challenge, as Ray mentions, is finding enough buyers for the excessive debt. Investors worldwide, especially those in treasury bonds, might be facing losses, creating a shift in the quantities being held. This shift, coupled with geopolitical changes and concerns about sanctions, adds another layer of complexity to the situation. Now, the supply-demand issue for debt is real. There's a substantial amount of debt in the market, and it needs buyers. To attract those buyers, interest rates may need to rise. This, in turn, can potentially trigger a crisis. Ray's insight into the difficulties of balancing this situation over the next 5 to 10 years is a wake-up call. If we continue on this path without addressing the supply-demand gap for debt and the geopolitical challenges, the balancing act becomes increasingly challenging. Investors need to be mindful of these factors as they navigate the markets. Remember, it's not just about the numbers. It's about understanding the broader economic landscape and being prepared for potential shifts. Stay informed and keep a close eye on the evolving dynamics of the global economy. So, there you have it, the potential challenges of a late-cycle debt crisis. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And happy investing until next time.